Hello, humans! It's Rob here with Not a Robot Podcast's DC Comics Review Show number 122. That's 122 episodes of us, the world's greatest comic show about the world's greatest superheroes. And with me, as always, is Josh.
Hello, hello.
So if you ever want to get in touch with us, you can send us an email to comics at notarobotpodcast.com, and you can get us on Twitter at notarobotcomics and on Instagram, NAR Comic Books. And if you feel like supporting us, visit buymeacoffee.com/NAR podcasts. And we have our very own Discord server, and with some support, you can find your way into the server to talk all things geek with us and other fans. So for today's books, we are looking at Tim Drake Robin number 3, Punchline The Gotham Game number 2, Harley Quinn number 24, Dark Crisis The Dark Army number 1, Deathstroke Inc. number 13, Detective Comics number 1066, Action Comics number 1049, and a few honorable mentions as well. But before we get into that, let's get into some news. What's going on in your neck of the woods, Josh?
Oh, not a whole lot. Taking care of taking care of some things, and the family's off having Thanksgiving. It's a little easier for me to not go this year because I had a seizure a few days back. I had all the good news I've been having lately, but um, that's about it. I did get one piece of news. About the Flash movie that was probably the first piece of good news that I've heard about the Flash movie since I heard that it was being created.
Oh, yeah.
But apparently, a whole lot of the reason that it was moved from December till June for its release date is the technology that they're using in order to reproduce several people on the screen at one time. It's apparently brand new technology,
Oh, right.
and they're saying that it is going to change filmmaking in the same ways that James Cameron's Avatar did.
I mean, they say that, but I'll admit I had a better 3D experience with Jackass 3 than I did with Avatar.
Fair
So
enough.
we'll see about that.
Fair enough.
I did
Fair
hear about
enough.
that though. That sounds really interesting. I'm
Yeah.
curious how this technology is going to revolutionize filmmaking. But
As am
if it's
I.
anything like the trailer, just looks like green screened in. Like the classic. Ezra's in one scene and then he does it again as another character and just
Yeah,
botch it
and
together.
apparently that's supposed to not be the case, but who knows?
Interesting. Cloning. They've perfected cloning, and Hollywood was the first ones to do it.
Should have known. They've been
Now
doing
there's
it for
two Ezra
years
Millers
already.
out in the world. Lord
There's two
help us
Avril
all.
Lavigne's too.
Okay. What? Huh?
That's an actual conspiracy theory that's out on the internet. Is that there's two Avril
Oh,
Lavigne's?
one punk, one bubblegum. Is that
No,
no?
one real, one clone.
Interesting. What? Why though? Where did that come from? It's so
I have no
weird.
idea. Some fucking weird ass still grabs that people are comparing shit. But I've actually it's a strong conspiracy theory on the internet that the original Avril Lavigne is dead and gone, and and the one that's around now is actually her replacement, cloned replacement.
I
Look
mean,
it
it had
up.
to be
I
a
promise it's
perfect
out there.
clone because she looks exactly the same.
According to these people, she doesn't, which I
Wow.
mean, fucking bonkers. But
Yeah,
I think
that's
some
I'm all
skater
for a good
boys have hit their
conspiracy
heads
theory.
too hard.
Yeah. Oh man, their lives sure are complicated. Uh, I'll be here all week, folks. At least until the end of the episode. Okay, so
That's a
we
long ass
actually
episode.
we actually did have some DC announcements this, or I guess last week, because they always tend to put the solicits out the day after we record. on the third week of the month. So we never get to talk about it until it's been almost a full week. Uh, so most of the internet has definitely heard about this by now. But Dawn of DC has been almost fully announced. It's actually happening. It's not just a fever dream of Joshua Williamson's for issue 7 of Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths. It's actually happening, and it will be a year-long storytelling initiative, according to the DC press release. Not necessarily a banner, not an event. It will be an initiative, and it will follow a year-long, potentially connecting storyline following Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths and Lazarus Planet, and it will feature a bunch of new directions and new books coming out with new creative teams on a bunch of characters that we have not seen in a long time, such as the Unstoppable Doom Patrol, which is being written by Dennis Culver and drawn by Chris Burnham.
I'm
And
looking
that's coming
forward to
in
that.
March. Yeah, that's going to be good. Superboy, the
Yeah.
Man of Tomorrow, which was last year's round robin winner, is finally coming, and it is going to drop in where was this here? I believe it's also March. I'm on the wrong article because the other article I was reading had solicits for it. But that is coming next
The
year.
one
Oh,
thing
April.
that I
It's coming
do
in
like
April.
about this, it remain the dawn of the DCU shit remains to be seen. Hopefully, it's a fresh starting point. Hopefully, it's a good place for people to get in to start reading comics again. A good point where a lot of the things are just quickly re-cemented and can go from there, and it's like a brand new DC universe
Yeah.
that they're not gonna fuck with within 5 years.
Oh, let's
and
face it. That's
and
gonna
I
happen.
mean it. The one thing that I do like about it is that they aren't slamming us with all of the titles that are coming out. It's We're
Yeah.
getting quite a few of the titles that are coming out, but then also there's a bunch of minis that are peppered throughout the year rather than everything being boom shoved down your throat. Here, go spend $500 a week.
Exactly.
Completionist. Damn it.
They do exist, and God help your wallets.
Oh
Uh,
man.
and hey, GLC fans, we're finally eating good, folks. Oh, we're back, boys. The core is alive. We're getting not one, but two books next year. I'm so excited. It's been a long time coming. We're getting
Oh
Green
yeah.
Lantern Hal Jordan and Green Lantern John Stewart's, with Hal Jordan dropping in April and John Stewart dropping at a later date yet to be announced. But the interesting parts for me, the most interesting parts, is the Hal Jordan book is being written by Mariko Tamaki with an artist yet to be announced, which I think is a very like interesting choice considering her writing style to me doesn't seem to really fit Hal Jordan very well, but I'm very excited to see how it flows.
But I think it could fit veteran Hal. Um, Maybe Hal stepping down a little bit or reflecting a little bit on his age and the things that he's done and stuff. Like Tamaki did in Dark Detective. If she was to take that approach with it, I think there could be some good stories there. Not like him retiring or anything, but just him dealing with where he's at and how long he's been around and etc.
Yeah, yeah, that could be cool. And John Stewart is artist again yet to be announced, but it is being written by none other than Philip Kennedy Johnson, who is not
Ooh.
leaving Action Comics. His amazing run on Action Comics. He's not leaving that book anytime soon. As he stated on, I believe on Twitter, it is a pride from my cold dead hands kind of situation. So he has no plans to ever leave Action Comics.
I saw the
But he
screen
is,
cap. It is actually a quote.
yep,
Yay, that
love
makes
it.
me so happy.
Yeah. I'm super excited to see what he can do with John Stewart, though, considering all the fun stuff. I say fun stuff, but Warworld was kind of hectic. To all the stuff he's done with Kal-El, I cannot wait to see what he does with John Stewart.
I think it'll all
Uh,
depend on the voice he gives him.
yeah. Another couple of smaller books. We have Shazam is coming, and this is back on Billy Batson. So we'll see what happens with Mary Marvel going forward. But Billy Batson will be back as Shazam, but he will be at the Rock of Eternity, and it is apparently now a time machine. It can travel through space and time, and he is doing the whole Booster Gold effect from Jeff Johns' run in the late 2000s. So we're
Oh
going to
boy.
see how that plays out. That is being written and drawn by Mark Waid and Dan Mora, the world's finest team. And I don't just mean the Batman Superman world's finest team. They are the world's finest team because god damn they make magic. So that's
Hey,
exciting.
aren't
We
too
got that.
shabby.
And Taki Tani is going to be back. I'm so excited about that. Taki Tani, when I was a kid, was one of my favorite characters. It's just this cat that turned into a tiger. Oh,
Well, yeah, and I see a lot of people have forgotten, and this is how memorable it was. In John's last Shazam run, he had Taki Tani
yeah,
as a character, and
but it was
everybody's like, it's been forever. Well, no, he's just the last time he was there, it just wasn't all that fucking great.
yeah, exactly.
Is he my dad?
Cyborgs.
No, he's not my dad. He might be my dad. I don't think he's my dad. Is he my dad? I don't know. Let's go fight in this dude's ear.
That
That
sounds
was
about right. That
that was
sums it
the
up pretty
entire
well.
John's run of Shazam.
Yeah, I do like how it ended though, with the tease about Black Adam, which was really just like a prophecy that say it's not necessarily a tease for an upcoming story. It's just kind of nice. Like one day, Billy, you're gonna bring Black Adam to the family, and he will be your seventh member. Like, oh, that's kind of nice. That's kind of nice. I like that.
It's gonna take some growth on his part.
Yeah. Well, hell, you know, it's kind of happened a little bit already with Teddy, with young Black Adam, but we'll see. Uh, we are getting another Cyborg series dropping in May with talent team that is
Booyah.
yet to be revealed. Batman Brave and the Bold is making a return, featuring
Yeah.
top writers and artists, including Tom King, Mitch Gerads, Guillaume March, Gabriel Hardman, Dan Moore, Rob Williams, and more. It will be, I. It's hard to tell if it's going to be like a compilation book or if it's going to be like a different creative team each issue with Batman teaming up with somebody else, which I'm not against. I think that'd be interesting. Keep it like the simple 20 or 30 page story and just have a different team as a whole, the only recurring factor being Batman every issue. I think that'd be interesting. But the first cover though has Joker on it, which is it doesn't bode well so far. And finally, the announcements we got is Green Arrow being written by Joshua Williamson with art from Sean Izakazi. I hope I
See,
spelled
this
that
is
or
this is
pronounced that
what we
right.
get for asking for a Green Arrow book.
Yeah.
Fucking
Now,
Joshua
as much
Williamson
as
writing it.
much as I agree with you there, it also kind of follows the plot threads that Joshua Williamson has been setting throughout his writing recently, with all the Green Arrow characters he's popped in with Roy and Connor Hawk, and then his story with Ollie and Dark Crisis being just utterly decimated by Doomsday.
He's got like a
My
5 year plan.
apparently,
Yeah,
my issue with this
that
is
should
that
be good.
you
The
know
last 5 year plan he had was fantastic.
wait, which 5 year plan was that?
The
Did you
Flash
say
5 year
Flash?
plan.
Oh God. Don't bring that up. Yeah, the issue I've got with
Just
it,
don't
I have
trust
with
him.
it so far is that Oliver Queen, like I said, was just destroyed by Doomsday, like literally smushed before Pariah did anything. So he was
Squished.
already dead, and it shows now when we saw Dark Crisis on Infinite Earth #6. He did not come back with the rest of the league because realistically he's dead. Despite the fact that this series going forward will be about Oliver Queen being lost somewhere, and his family is determined to find him. So the entire Arrow family, including Mia Queen, is making a return. Will be going across, I assume, the multiverse looking for Oliver, which I think is going to be interesting. That drops in April. Yeah, that is just
Ollie,
a
Ollie,
small
oxen
taste
free.
of a lot of books to come. They said they did announce that there will be 20 books over the course of the year, and they had a little poster that showed some books dropping up until we can only assume, I think, is May, and then the rest of the year was kind of shadowed. So we do have some stuff coming in the future, and it's very exciting to see what's going to happen in 2023. I can't wait. But another thing they announced actually this week, I believe 2 days ago, is actually happening next month in Action Comics number 1050. I will not tell you folks what it is because you've probably already seen it. But if you haven't, I'm not going to spoil it because they basically spoiled a plot thread from Action 1050. Um, if you want to know what it is,
Not
it's very easy to find. Just Google Action Comics number 1050, Superman and or Clark and John, and you will find out what it is very easily. uh, I'm surprised they dropped it now, as opposed to like 3 months ago or 2 months ago when the solicit dropped. But here we are. It's weird timing, but it's also I'm always on the fence about these kind of press releases that they do this because it spoils what may or may not be a major plot to the book. So when you read it, you're like, well, there goes the fucking surprise. But at the same time, it's supposed to be a draw to bring people in that wouldn't have necessarily read it in the first place, but they think, oh, this is interesting. I'm gonna read it now. Maybe
yeah,
the sales
those
figures actually speak well for that because they haven't stopped doing this in the past, I don't know, 15 freaking years. But for people that are already reading the book, I think it's a bit of a draw. It's a bit of a letdown.
mm-hmm.
I don't know. What do you think about that, Josh? Do you hate those press releases, or do you?
Me
Or are you not
personally, I
against
can't
them?
stand the solicits. They
Yeah,
drive me crazy. DC is absolutely horrible with them because they spoil every they spoil every fucking plot.
hmm,
It's like a friend walking into the movie that you just sat down and you're about 20 minutes into, and they're like, "Oh, hey, I remember this. This ends boom like that." Tell you everything that
yeah,
happens because that it's the same damn thing, and then it's all over the internet. You can't avoid it. It's aggravating. It's like
yeah,
keep some secrets, you know.
yeah.
You need a solicit that says on August 3rd, Batman number 798 is coming out. This is its description. It's Batman number 798.
Batman does something.
Don't tell me what's gonna happen in it.
Yeah,
Keep me guessing.
or maybe like keep the solicits maybe not 3 months ahead because you get spoiled very easily to what's going on in the middle of a story you're currently reading.
Mm-hmm.
It's not great. Uh, like a
No,
month
it's
ahead
not
might be
great.
too short. 2 months ahead might be a sweet spot. I don't know.
Yep.
A lot less spoilers, I think. I don't know. It's yeah. The comics industry is it's got its ups and downs. Anyway, that's about
You
all the
can
news
say
I've
that
got.
again.
Yeah.
No, that's about everything that I've got too. And honestly, going on to our next section there, the honorable mentions, I actually only managed to read a couple this week. I
Yeah.
still got to make it through the other ones. Um, Batman: The Audio Adventures number 3, DC versus Vampires 11, and Sergeant Rock versus the Army of the Dead number 3. All three were really good. Um, didn't get a chance to check out Gilded City, Human Target, or DC Mac. Oh, or Batman Fortress. But oh man, am I looking forward to that?
I'm tempted on Batman Fortress now only because Chip is in it, or is it Badge? I don't know. It's one of the Chipmunk Squirrel Green Lanterns. I'm interested simply because of that.
Proceed at your own peril.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. So that's honorable mentions. Quite a lot of books.
Quite a lot of books, and honestly, the ones that I didn't read are usually pretty damn skippable. So
Yeah.
there's
I've only
that.
read DC versus Vampires out of the so far out of the honorable mentions, which I'm still really enjoying. Uh,
Hmm.
Sergeant Rock, I'm really excited about. DC Mech number 5, I'm excited about, but I'm a mech head, so
Yeah, that's going to be my next one. Man, the audio adventures books are pretty fun.
I should check those out. I've been curious about those.
You should
They
definitely do
look
that.
interesting. Is that
It's
based off what
wonderful.
the old radio adventures from like the 40s and 50s?
Yes, sir.
Right on. Yeah, I should definitely check
I
that
know,
out.
right? Fun times.
Okay, so with that out of the way, we're going to move on to a quick bite. I don't know if you've had lunch yet, but we're going to feed you anyway. And we're going to start off with Tim Drake Robin number 3. This is written by Megan Fitzmartin with art from Riley Rosmo, colors from Lee Loffridge, and letters from Tom Napolitano. So, very simply, Tim Drake, picking up where we left off last issue, is being attacked by a bunch of Robins, all his sibling Robins, including Stephanie Brown. But they seem to be clay based, or at least he thinks they're clay based, potentially made by Clayface. And after systematically taking each one down by exploiting their weaknesses, because they are pretty much exact duplicates of the Robins that are already existing, he knows how to take down each member of the family, and he hates that aspect about himself. So he does,
Which is
and most
crazy.
of them get caught by the police for some reason. Yet the Jason Todd clay figure gets away, goes back to its, I guess, boss, creator, leader, whichever. Realizes that he failed, and says he didn't realize that uh, this stuff or whatever it is would burn onto his skin. So it may or may not be an actual person, and just then uh, something that may or may not be Clayface crashes out of a bathtub. It was really weird, really odd. Uh, what is even happening anymore? I am so lost. Are we
You're
doing a mystery? Is there a villain? Is there not? Is any of this connected whatsoever? Or is it just a bunch of shit happening for the sake of having a book? And for that matter,
check. When it all
um,
starts out with things called the chaos monsters that hunt high school students, I mean, come the fuck on. You cannot
yeah.
expect it to get any better. That's like looking forward to
Yeah.
a Wonder Woman book knowing that psychic fucking evil psychic milk is coming or may return at any moment.
Oh, Wonder Woman next week
Just
is going to be
know better.
great. My biggest issue with this issue is at the end, Tim is left with the Dick Grayson copy, who somehow gets beefed up to Bane like levels,
Beefy.
and takes him down very, very easily by using his acrobatics against him, and then goes on to say that the biggest downfall each Robin has is that they are still looking for the approval from Bruce. All of them are still, most of all, Dick. To which
Daddy doesn't
myself
love me.
and Brandon, and I believe you were in on this, Josh, too. Uh, no, we fucking don't. When did that happen? They stopped that years ago. There's
Yeah,
been
if
so
not,
many stories to
like
say,
over a
no, no, they're good.
decade.
Yeah. Dick has not looked for approval since 1984. I
Pretty
think that
fucking
was when
close
he
to
became
it.
Nightwing. And, like, Jason stopped looking for approval when he was killed by the Joker. Tim stopped looking. Tim was never looking for freaking approval. Let's face it. He was only there because he felt Bruce needed a Batman, or Batman needed a Robin, rather. He was never looking for approval from Bruce. He was there because he felt Bruce needed a friend.
Hmm.
Stephanie, I can't really comment on Stephanie. She was Robin for like 2 hours. And Damien, like,
Yeah, an hour and a half.
Damien maybe, but he's also gone through so many lengths to go out on his own and prove himself to himself and not look for approval from anybody else. He is such a cocky kid in the first place. He's never needed approval from anyone to do what he does. So what the
No,
hell is this about?
in the I mean with the story that he's going on now and the character building that's been happening, he's past wanting Bruce or Talia's blessings or admiration.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, he's all fucking done with that shit. Nope,
Yep.
nobody wants to be like Daddy.
Nope. So I don't know.
Bad, bad dad. Bad,
That
bad
part,
dad.
that part kind of rubbed me the wrong way, but what can you do?
You
Honestly,
can bitch and
four
moan
point
on a
five out
review
of 10.
podcast.
Yeah, gladly.
That's what you can do.
Yeah. So I gave this issue a 4.5 out of 10, and I think that might be a little too high, even still. The only thing that
Yeah.
brought me back is I enjoy some of Rosmo's art. That's just me. I don't like his Tim Drake. I don't like. Okay, let me clarify. I don't like the head of Tim Drake. The costume I think is drawn really well. The head is horrible,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's
So,
four maybe. Fuck it.
yeah, the story here wasn't exceptionally bad if you compare it to the rest of the very bad stories that have been written so far. Um, the, uh, I'm definitely not a fan of the way that the voices are written. The dialogue is not right, and you can feel it while you're reading it. Um, and of course, Rob brought up Rosmo here. So I mean, I did, dude. I had to check at three different points at how much longer I had to go before I was done looking at this at this travesty of art. So this story isn't even like just a comic book story. It's great characters and very subpar situations. Um, the whole action scene, I had to keep reminding myself that we weren't in the middle of some trippy dream sequence that he was having. That's how distracting the art was, and how uninvolved I was with the story. I just wasn't into it. This is definitely not a redeeming effort. Tim deserves way more than this. It's kind of like watching creatives just shit all over Wally West for years. There's a great character, don't know what to do with him, so just put him through the fucking blender. That's how I feel about this anyway. 4 out of 10.
Yeah. Right on. Yeah. Well, one thing's for sure, that issue was a joke, and with a joke, you definitely get a punchline. So there we go. I'm making my way. So yeah, the next issue we're looking at is Punchline, the Gotham Game #2, and I'm gonna hand it over to Josh.
Ooh, I got it. Written by Teeny and Blake Howard, art from Gleb Melnikoff and Will Robson, Louis Guerrero on colors, and lettering for Justin Birch, wrapped in a cover from Melnikoff. It was a pretty one too. Batman is all of a sudden taking an interest in Punchline after what, like 2 fucking years, and he has decided, of course, that he's going to go after her alone. Meanwhile, carrying over from last week's Catwoman, Iko and the Hasagawa clan are at the docks, and Punchline's Royal Flush Gang is there to take it over, picking fights. Things aren't looking good for the clan, and when Batman shows up, just a little too late to stop Punchline from stabbing Iko. He rushes her out of there, and he tells Punchline that he's not fun to play with, even if the Joker said he was, and that Iko better live, and if not, that Iko better live, and she better hope so. And if not, if not hope so because of Batman, then know that she should hope so because of Catwoman. So Batman, it's very, very strange dialogue for Batman there, in my personal opinion. Um, but I guess maybe they're just really trying to lay on the love that Batman has for Catwoman. So potentially there's that. The art was great, and for the first time in a long time, I'm over here like, hell yeah, a good Punchline story. I do hope that they don't ditch Harper, been a consistent part of the Punchline story so far. Um, Seeing Catwoman team up with seeing Catwoman team up on the regular with like Harley and Bluebird, I think that would be fucking cool.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That would be real cool because Bluebird doesn't mind riding the rails there of the justice system. And they just brought Black Alice, and I know I keep on bringing up Black Alice, or if you're not paying attention, I understand. But um, I Black Alice is like one of my favorite side Gotham characters, and she's been brought into the Robin story. So hopefully she shows back up in Gotham when that's all said and done. And I would love to see her on that team too. Catwoman, Harley, Bluebird, Black Alice. There's probably a couple more you can get in there. I think that would be awesome, like so awesome. The
Mm-hmm.
nails, the voice, like I said, is just slightly off for Batman, but the art is fucking gorgeous. I am definitely a fan of Teeny Howard. I gave this an 8.5 out of 10.
Yeah, honestly, a big improvement for Punchline for a story, but somehow
Yeah,
I just still can't care about the character. Like, I like every aspect of the story except for Alexis K for some reason. It's weird. I like it, but I don't at the same time. I don't hate Punchline. I'm just not sold on her. You know, she always still feels like a minor character, even if it's in her own book. It's really,
because
really
there's
weird.
nothing to her.
There
I
really
think that's
isn't.
what it is.
There's not
It's like
much.
it's an it's an empty character. Oh,
Yeah,
look, a college girl decided that she was going to see the Joker's bet and raise him.
yeah.
Done. I mean, there's just no depth to it whatsoever, and I
Yeah.
think that's where I'm running into it. It's like she's a character. She's there. She's causing mayhem, doing it a little differently, but nothing groundbreaking. And like you said, I'm what's the word I'm looking for? Indifferent. I'm indifferent to whether or not she ever, if they just stopped making this book again, I would just forget that it was being
Yeah.
made.
Yeah. Like that's a really good way to put it. I'm not against the book existing. I'm enjoying what I'm reading, but yeah, it's exactly that. If it stopped showing up, I wouldn't even realize it.
Like I said, I enjoyed this. I gave it an 8.5 out of 10, but Punchline is so meaningless of a character to me that I would just forget that the series was running.
Yeah. Like I also gave it an 8.5. I do hope that Punchline gets some kind of come up in this series, maybe,
Hmm.
hopefully. um
Well, see,
if
they are pulling in Catwoman. They are pulling in
yeah,
Harley, for sure.
but is that just going to be a one-off fight and then that's it? Like if they gave her a purpose to go forward, like if she was the leader of the Royal Flush Gang from here on out, at least for the foreseeable future, that's something at least that could bring her into other books and make her relevant, as opposed to just somebody that wants to create chaos because the Joker did it. It's really weird.
That's a that's a very fair point. You know what? I'm right there with you. I think that that is what they should do. Having her be the leader of the Royal Flush Gang helps lets her keep that identity that she's got, and it at least gives her something about her character.
Yeah.
You're right.
Well, that was one, I guess, ex girlfriend of the Joker, and we're gonna look at another ex girlfriend of the Joker, and we're not talking about Chuckles. Is that his name?
Chuckles,
Wasn't
giggles
that
and
like one of
gaggles,
his old goons that he always went to, like way back in the
giggles and
day?
I want to say it was giggles and gaggles,
Oh, maybe.
but I could be wrong.
Uh,
I'm probably wrong. Giggles
I'm probably wrong
sounds
too.
right.
I know. I just know we had like a right hand person that was always some
Yeah,
kind of laugh name. Either way, we're not going that far back. We're going to Harley Quinn. We're just going to the 90s a little bit. And we're going to start off with issue number 24. This is written by Stephanie Phillips with art from Matteo Lawley, colors from Rain Burrito, and letters from And World Design. So simply put, Harley has kidnapped Victor Zaz because he has his pulse, or he has his ear to the his finger on the ear to the. He knows what's going on in Gotham when it comes to crime. You get what I'm trying to
Yeah.
say? Yeah, I
he, has
I
his, he has his finger to
botched
the
that
pulse, the
so
ear to the
hard.
ground.
Yeah, he's tongue to the flavor.
He can smell what the block is cooking.
Oh goodness. Oh man. No, yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, so Harley has him tied up and gagged, and then asks him a question and realizes he can't talk. So she rips the tape off because it's Harley Quinn. She's got to be a little bit silly. Asking him who killed her. He doesn't know, so she says, "Look, help me find out." So they go on a little bit of a detective journey, even though Harley did promise to let him out, and she did, but still tied to the chair. She's now his Watson. She, he is now her Watson, rather. So they're on a
Yeah,
case.
basically.
Yeah, yeah. They're at a crime scene where bodies have been dropped numerous times at the same place, and the killer shows up. Harley narrowly escapes gunshot, gets into a kerfuffle with the person, recognizes some gloves,
Kerfuffle.
and
I love that
rips the
word.
cloak off to discover it is the Harley who laughs. No, that can't be right. That can't be right. The Quinn who smile. No, the psychiatrist who giggled. I give up. I don't know. I don't know what the hell to call her.
Oh, for
It's a
fuck's
Harley
sake.
Quinn that looks like the Batman who laughs, if only because of chains, straps, and a weird spiky mask on the eyes. It's kind of horrific.
Definitely the Harley who laughs.
But she already laughs. That's the thing. That's why it's kind of weird to say that. Uh,
It is.
I don't know. The
And
Harley who frowns. I don't know. Doesn't laugh. I don't know. I'm excited to find out what they're gonna call this character. That's what I'm excited about. I'm
hopefully they're
hoping
gone
this
fast
goes
enough we don't
somewhere
get a name.
good.
It's not going to go anywhere good, dude. First,
I
the
know,
Batwoman
but
who
I've
laughs
seen the
shows up for
solicits.
absolutely no reason during the Infinite Frontier bullshit.
Yeah.
Batwoman who laughs, for fuck's sake. And now this is a part of the big arc for Harley. Come on. Come on.
Didn't they understand the fans when they said no more Batman who laughs? They meant as a whole. We're tired of the
Right.
character as a
Yeah.
whole.
Not
All
just him.
iterations.
Keep his whole fucking family at home.
Yeah. I
What?
at the end of the day though, I am curious about this character. I As much as I'm tired of the Batman who laughs, an idea of a Harley Quinn version kind of piques my curiosity in a way that I hope it's good. I don't have high hopes, but I am curious where it's going to go.
Yeah.
Because honestly, the whole arc so far has been interesting for me. I'm
It
really hoping
has.
this isn't a downward spiral. We'll see where it goes. For now, though, 8.5 out of 10. I rather enjoyed it.
Yeah. Right on. Um, Yeah, when dude, I'm like, I'm into this fucking story and shit. And then when I get to that last fucking page and it's the Harley who laughs, I mean, cue the fucking eye roll. I will say, first and foremost, the art is seriously good. I mean, top shelf art. I hope Lolly sticks around for a long time. I like them on this book a lot, especially with Barreto. Great team. I was in it all the way to the last page, which I obviously am not a big fan of. But
Yeah.
let's go from what was in this issue and not from what's probably coming. So I'm going to give this one a 7.75 out of 10 cuz it was a great book.
Yeah.
And I mean as absolutely aggravated as I am that that showed up, Harley who laughs looks cool as shit.
Yeah. Like it's actually a pretty interesting design. It's very Harley, but very metal at the same time.
Total metal.
Yeah. Okay, so that was our quick bites. Hope that was tasty. Uh,
Arr.
some were, maybe. Some maybe not. Now we're going to shine a little bit of a spotlight onto the darkness. Yeah, I guess there's no better place to shine a spotlight than on darkness, especially the great darkness. Because we're going to be looking at the Dark Crisis, The Dark Army, #1. This is written by Mark Waid and Delilah S. Darson and Dennis Culver, with art from Freddie E. Williams and Jack Herbert, with colors throughout from Adriano Lucas and letters from Troy Pateri, with a very nice cover from Gleb Melnikov. So this
Pretty one.
oversized 40-page issue has there's a reason there's a few different writers and artists. It goes through a few different phases. We open during the big fight in Dark Crisis on Infinite Earth #6 outside the Hall of Justice, where the forces of evil and the Great Darkness are fighting the forces of good in the Heroes of Earth. Robin, Damian Wayne, is has tasked himself basically with trying to find a team to go on a secret mission that he thinks can help turn the tide. He goes to John because John is his first choice, but John says, "No, he's needed here. He's leading this team. He can't just up and leave." But John says, "Look, take a small team, pick very carefully, do what you gotta do. But I gotta stay here. If I gotta fight Doomsday, I gotta fight Doomsday." So Damien reluctantly gives John a hug and says, "Okay, good luck," and picks his team in Power Girl, Doctor Light, and none other than everyone's favorite teen character in DC, Sideways. That's exciting.
I like Sideways.
Oh yeah, I love Sideways. Every time I see Sideways brought up online, it's nothing but praise. Like it's exciting when Sideways gets used.
I mean,
It might have been the I don't remember the name of the initiative, the banner when his book came out, but
New Age of Heroes, I think.
was yeah, New Age of Heroes. Yeah, that and the Terrifics, easily the best ones, I think.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I feel
the
like if they
Terrifics was
worked
hit or
them right,
miss. But
I feel like if they
was
worked them
interesting.
right, Sideways could be DC's Spider-Man.
Oh yeah, and I think he was definitely created to be that, but he's not really used, which is a shame.
Unfortunately,
Yeah, pretty much all the books, all the characters from that era are just gone, which is a shame. Even Silencer, I really enjoyed Silencer, and she's just not used anymore, which is a shame. But I guess it's also fitting in the story.
Silencer's been around, just definitely not as much as I would hope to see. More than Sideways, though.
Yeah. Okay, so that's your team of four. Robin uh, grabs them all together and tells Sideways to open a portal to their first destination. But before they get to jump through the portal, Robin sees Girder lifting up a Mack truck and is about to crush some new hero as he jumps and pulls her out of the way into the Sideways portal. And they all land, most of them gracefully, except for the new character who is Red Canary. And they land in a subway system. Trying to find out where they are, they eventually make their way up an escalator to find they are on Earth 53. And here we see the first tide of the infinite multiverse is back. Because we are now beyond Earth 51 and 52, is now Earth 53, which is the ape Earth, if you remember from. I don't remember who. Was it Grant Morrison's Justice League? When they did the apes?
I believe it was
JL
Grant
Apes,
Morrison,
yeah. Yeah, of course, Grant Morrison. Who else could come up with JL Apes? um, yeah, so they're there, but the Earth is very much dead. There's nothing but ape skeletons left laying around. But they head off towards the destination they are there for, and it is none other than the Cosmic Tuning Fork, last seen, I believe, in Infinite Crisis. Maybe sooner.
Yeah, no,
Was
I
it
think
in
you might be right.
Metal? Was it in Metal? I feel like it was in Metal, but I could be wrong. At least the last I remember is Infinite Crisis, and they do make reference to that numerous times where Power Girl mentions how she was basically locked into that and used as a power battery.
You know what? I
It
think
has
it did
very
show up in death metal, but I think it was destroyed. Of course, everything that happened in death metal was ultimately inconsequential. But
yeah, yeah. Namely, Dick and Babs getting married. You know,
yeah,
uh, God damn it, that was a big point for those characters. Damn it, I loved it. Anyway,
Dick
that's
and
a book
Babs just
that doesn't exist anymore. Yeah,
they should be
so
called Dabs,
oh god, Babs. It's better than Bick,
right? There'd be too
is
many
there not?
dirty memes about flicking your bick.
Oh, you gotta give
What's
yourself
wrong
a
with
draw.
you? Can't believe your
Got,
brain went there, Rob. God.
what? I used to smoke. I know what you're talking about. Lighters.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Of
Let's
course.
go with that. And nothing else. Only that. So anyway, the Cosmic Tuning Fork is there, and it is not operational. Um, Power Girl does not have great memories of that, and is not happy they are there. But they have nothing to go on because Damien refuses to tell any of them why they are there. Meanwhile, Red Canary seems to be the only one that notices dark clouds hovering around them, and it is shadow demons, I believe, not necessarily last seen, but famously from Crisis on Infinite Earth's original. Uh, excuse me. So, Power Girl flies Damien up the Cosmic Tuning Fork, while the rest do what they can to deal with the shadow demons, as Damien is doing what he can to make it operational. Turns it on, activates a screen that basically he may or may not have communication with one of these apes. It was very vague to me, but basically
You're
finds out
not
what
the
he's
only
looking
one.
for. Yeah. Dr. Light showcases her power set and how shadow demons are her specialty, and vaporizes them away with a blast of light. Power Girl's getting overrun while Damien finds out where it is he needs to go and reveals one part of his master plan. He needs to take control of the Dark Army. So they gather together just as the shadow demons run away, but end up creating one giant shadow demon being. Where Dr. Light asks Power Girl to give her some heat vision, and she can transfer that energy into more light energy, which defeats the gigantic shadow demon. As Sideways opens another portal where they all jump through, and now they are in the House of Heroes in the Bleed, which is obviously disheveled and defunct after the events of, I believe, that was Justice League
Infinite
Incarnate.
Crisis. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Specifically the title. Yes.
Uh, so it is not operational, but Robin turns it on despite the warnings from other people saying maybe there's a reason it's not operational. The Harbinger systems activates and immediately tell Robin to shut them down because as that happens, Justice League Incarnates, who have been enslaved by the Great Darkness, have broken through a wall and are now attacking our would be team of heroes. And they're trying to break into the Orrery of Worlds, where if they succeed in that, they can corrupt uh, the entire multiverse at once with the Great Darkness, and the Great Darkness will essentially have won the day. So the team does what they can to fight against them, but the Justice League Incarnate proves a little bit too strong, as we see immediately with a very murderous looking Captain Carrot chomping a bite out of Sideways' shoulder in a gruesome effect that made my childhood scream in pain. Oh my god, that was terrifying. Uh, yeah, but so cool at the same time. So they eventually
Gruesome.
get the upper hand. Dr. Light does some pretty interesting shit, jumping into the or oh my god, it's so hard to say, the Orrery of Worlds, and
Orrery.
sees various versions of herself in various Doctor Lights across the multiverse, and returns from the orrery in a new metallic armor comprised of light, very reminiscent of the armor from DC Metal that they got
Yeah.
at the end of that series. And her light powers break the chains of darkness on each member of Justice League Incarnate. So they are now freed, and they all say their apologies and regroup and come up with a plan that they are now going to go after the Great Darkness with their newfound power in Doctor Light and reinforcements in the Justice League Incarnate. Now, the most interesting part for me is Sideways is a little bit out of juice, so they have no way to really get back safely. But Doctor Multiverse, I think was her name.
Dr. Light.
No, from the Justice League Incarnate.
Oh, yes, Dr. Multiverse.
Doctor Multiverse, yeah. It uses her power of multivision to see the variant selves of each person and sees some interesting choices, different versions of Sideways, different versions of Doctor Light, different versions of Kara Zor-El. Uh, Basically, one big version of Damian Wayne where his destiny is always to become Batman, and you get a brief tease of different versions of Red Canary, whoever this mystery person is, including a shot of Oliver Queen and Captain Cold duking it out, which is quite interesting because what's up with that? Neither of them
You think Red...
are
Or
Red
never mind.
Canary.
Red Canary's not a seasoned hero at all. Never mind.
No,
I had a fleeting
as
thought,
far as
but
we
never mind.
know, Red Canary is a new addition, but we don't really know who this is yet. Uh, well, as that happens, apparently that gives Sideways a boost of power, and he opens a portal so they all fly in to go back to the battle at the Hall of Justice on Earth Zero. And to see more of what Dr. Multiverse saw of Damian, follow Batman versus Robin, because plot threads. No tease for Red Canary, which I think is what I'm most excited about, but we'll get there eventually, I'm sure.
The potential.
Maybe in the upcoming Green Arrow series. So, quite honestly, I think this was cool. You got a look back at Infinite Crisis before the grand finale of Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths. What does this all mean, though? Is this just for Dodger Light to get a power up? Was this to bring the JLI back? Is there more to come? Honestly, with the JLI back, though, it seems like the heroes have a big win coming in a grand way, and I'm excited about that because I really like the Justice League Incarnate. I thought it was a really cool team. Not just because my childhood hero Captain Carrot is on it, but because I like all the characters involved, especially Captain or Doctor Multiverse. I think is really cool. The art throughout was quite good, though. When they make the first jump in, it is quite jarring to see Damien as a 13, 14-year-old kid, and then all of a sudden look like he's 26. It was really, really weird. Whoever was drawing those panels made Damien look way too old. Apart from that, though, I thought it was great throughout. 8.75 out of 10. I think this might be the best tie-in for Dark Crisis yet, if not the best issue of the entire freaking event.
I mean, you might be onto something there. I may have to agree with you. I'm struggling to think of a good issue. I got my problems with this one. Of course, it was being released out of continuity. Clark already showed up and saved John from Doomsday, so I mean that wasn't exactly a surprise. What's going to happen there? The introduction of Red Canary is what grabbed me as well, and Sideways showing up. I hope he sticks around. I again really like that character. But what a tactical squad! What a team! Robin, Dr. Light, Power Girl, Sideways, and obviously an Archer. Though she seems rather unimpressive at the start of this, I would be interested in seeing this little team stick together for a little while. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously it's not going to, but I would like to see what happens with it because I think it could be a fun book even if it was a short one. On the downside of Red Canary, her saying "Holy Crow" was just such a groaning bad joke. I mean, Red Canary saying "Holy Crow" instead of "Holy crap." I mean, come on now. But seriously, right? But Doctor Light got all of her powers. Captain Carrot did not eat anyone, and the team got bigger by way of JLI. All still being led by Damien. Um, Weird, interesting, looks really good. Still not sold. 7 out of 10.
Fair enough. Yeah, they can't all
I
be
try to be.
winners, but of of a series of losers, this might be the biggest winner of them all. Yeah,
Yeah,
what
I
can you
can't
do?
think of one I gave a 7 to. I mean, I'm sure one exists. I'm not
Yeah,
not discounting that, but I don't remember any.
yeah. It's been a bit of a blur of a series, to be honest with you. We have, I think, two more uh, one shots before we get to the big finale near the end of December. One of which honestly doesn't have much to do with the story going forward because it's basically just here's the multiverse and where it stands now. Um, but it kind of fits
Yay.
in with the title, so we'll see where it goes. So that's the end of our spotlight segments. We're gonna take a quick little break. Don't touch that dial.
Get your hand off the button.
Yeah, what he said. Stay tuned. And we're back. Welcome back to the show. Hope that was too hard, painful, difficult. No, you're good. We're going to get into our full reviews now, and we're going to start things off with Deathstroke Inc. number 15, and I'm going to let Josh take us away.
Written by Ed Brisson with art from Dexter Soy. That's colored by Veronica Gandini and lettered from Steve Wantz, and a cover from Mikkel Yanin. And it's really pretty. Cool story. Loved it. I'm just kidding. Muzzle, or as I prefer to call him, Gunboy, from the last issue, still has a gun to Wintergreen's head and is forcing them to drive somewhere. Then they get on a plane. Up in the plane, Gunboy says that he doesn't need Wintergreen anymore, so he goes to throw him out of the back of the plane, and naturally, Deathstroke has a problem with that, so he stops him.
Yeah.
Wintergreen then shoots Gunboy, and Deathstroke then pushes him out of the back of the plane. So high tech plane lands where the autopilot was headed, and they walk out to meet the man behind it all, the one that hired Slade in the first place, trying to recruit Slade to his super soldier army, where Slade announces that he is not for hire, or excuse me, that he is for hire and not just a part of a group. Then he goes home and gets greeted with the customary slap across the face from his wife Addie when he walks in. Uh, then there's some smooth talking and some promises, and then we get the inner dialogue about how he needs to keep up this happy family appearance if he's going to be Deathstroke, and constantly prove forever to everyone that he is the best. Uh, the stepping stones of how shitty of a dad Slade Wilson is. So he loves his family incredibly. He's done nothing but make bad decisions. But Soy fucking Dexter, man, so pretty, and the colors were right on the money too. Damn, Brisson cakewalked this story, dude. It was so good from start to finish, and I ate it up so easily, man. Awesome time reading this arc, and I could honestly read more, which is kind of weird for me to say because I didn't understand the need for this story when it was announced. I wasn't sure uh, I was gonna like it, and I fucking love it, man. Deathstroke Inc. number 15, 9 out of 10.
Right on. Yeah, I
That's what
really
I said.
enjoyed it. It was beautiful to look at, great story, but this didn't quite feel like an ending, at least not the ending I thought we would get, because I thought we would see more of his origin going forward. Like, you get to see how he lost his eye, if there was a retcon on it, more stuff going forward. Maybe uh, I don't know. There's a lot about Deathstroke's past I don't know, but I'm sure has
There's
been
always
explained
room
in
for a
previous
sequel, huh?
series. That's exactly what I was thinking. Maybe a year two could be on the horizon. Uh, who knows? Because I thought I
I'd
don't
read
even
it.
know how much of Deathstroke's origin has been told in the past, but if it has, like this could have easily been like a retcon with all the multiverse changes that have happened since then. So
Mm,
either way, I still really enjoyed it. I thought we'd see more, but it leaves the door open for this creative team to come back and give us more later on. So I'm not against that because it was really good. I gave this an 8.75 out of 10. Solid run, solid issue. I think this is still going.
yes.
Deathstroke Inc. is still going, right?
No.
Come to
Or
think of it,
Deathstroke Inc. is this arc is not.
yeah. But
I believe it's continuing past this. Yeah.
let me double check because reading solicits, I don't remember seeing this.
I could have swore it was going to continue.
I thought so too. Let me just double check this because I'm not convinced. I'm hoping it is, and that this isn't just the last issue. No, there is no other issue after this.
Well, I mean, it's a good place to stop it.
Yeah,
Obviously, that means Deathstroke isn't going to be showing up for a while after the end of this event.
and to be fair,
To
doesn't
be
look good for
fair.
him going into the last issue of Dark Crisis. So, you know, I get it.
No. No, whenever a bad guy swells up like that, it's always going to end badly for them.
Yeah. Fuck. I can't wait to see how it ends though. With Deathstroke, I mean, in Dark Crisis.
Looks
What
like
a
it's ending
character.
with some roid rage.
Yeah, really. Okay, so that was Deathstroke. Not much of a mystery going on there, but we do have a mystery coming up with Detective Comics number
Indeed, we
1066.
do.
And that is brought to us in the main story, written by Rom V, with pencils from Ivan Reese, inks from Danny Mickey, colors from Dave Stewart, and letters from Ariana Maher, with a beautiful cover from Evan Cagle, and our backup story with featuring Two Face, part 2 of 3, is written by Simon Spurrier, with art from Hayden Sherman, colors from Nick Filardi, and letters from Steve Wands. So Bruce is still
Steve
resting on the
Wands.
couch at Bullock and Gordon Investigations. He's been passed out for 3 days, and his fever's come down dramatically, or drastically rather. And he's come to. His face is bandaged up because Gordon just didn't really care to know Bruce's identity, or Batman's identity, should I say, even though we all thought he already knew, but here we are. That's
Yeah,
fine by me.
I
Uh,
guess.
Gordon catches Bruce up on what's been going on as he gets dressed into his Batman clothes as Gordon pours him a drink, and he disappears before he gets to take it. Uh, Batman finishes off by saying, "I'm glad you're back, Jim," and Jim just says, "That's exactly what I was afraid of." We then pop over to what Two Face is up to, where he is dealing with some of his old cohorts who did not know he was back as a crime boss, and lets us go and do the talking, shoots the guy in the face for not being loyal to the cause,
Of
and then
course.
has a little bit of internal monologue with himself where we find out that it's still Harvey just pretending to be Two Face, but he's still in control of himself, and the Two Face persona is locked in his mind because Two Face wouldn't be Two Face without two faces. Why not? I'm all for that still.
Can't be
Just
one and a
then,
half face.
yeah. Gail returns and uh, asks for a catch up on what's been going on, and Harvey gives him the details of the plan going forward and how things are going according to plan. But Gail says he will take care of the rest. We then pop over to Arkham Asylum. It has been slightly demolished and being reconstructed thanks to the Orgums. As they arrive, Bruce is there on site watching the site happen. Uh, as Arzen Orgum, the young Orgum, who is the face of the family currently, sees Bruce Wayne and catches him and introduces himself, saying, "Thank you for everything your family's done for the city. They've been catching up on the Waynes as it goes," and is truly grateful for Bruce's contributions to how the city has become.
Truly grateful.
Bruce is not
You can tell
100%
they're
sold on it.
sincere.
Eh?
I said you can tell they're very sincere.
Oh, yeah. Bruce is not 100% sold on this whole idea, especially since he is not really a millionaire anymore or billionaire. He's not 100% rich. So he can't really do much more. As he walks away, the elder Orgrim, I don't quite remember what she was. Mother?
The Elder Orcam?
Matriarch? Something
Sure.
like that. Yeah. Um, gives him a bit of a look with her keen vision and sees something very interesting about Bruce Wayne. The symbol that he could be compared to the symbol they've torn down in Arkham Asylum, and how you need to tear things down before you can begin to build it up again. Or, no, sorry, understand how something was built before you can begin to tear it down. So Bruce is now back as Batman as he scopes out an old defunct power station at the tip of Jim Gordon himself, as Jim Gordon is checking out another avenue with some dead bodies. Where Bruce finds that while the power station is not operational, he can smell some fresh oil, so some people have been in and doing something with it. But he also finds it's very cold as Mr. Freeze appears being attacked by Gale, who then turns into his werewolf form as an Asmer, and Batman then swoops in to get in the way. But Gale is proving to be too strong for everyone as Mr. Freeze begins to get away and sets off a freeze bomb that freezes Batman in place, and he's now a Batsicle. Yeah. Yeah. Which I think has been done many times before. We've also seen every time Batman gets frozen, he pushes some button somehow, and his suit heats up and he melts. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, the one difference is the way that this is drawn. It almost looks like he's not just encased in ice like usual. He's actually, he himself has been like frozen. Like,
Yeah.
throw a screwdriver at him and dude might fall apart kind of shit. So could just been an art choice, but it does look pretty serious.
Yeah.
Obviously, it won't be, but hopefully the story's good.
The art is really freaking good.
Yeah.
And in our
Fucking
backup,
killer.
oh yeah, in our Two-Face backup, if you can follow along, because I know I really couldn't. It's very confusing and very out there. Um, it's more of Harvey dealing with his dual identity as Two-Face, following the mission he's been giving to kill his old psychiatrist. But then Jim Gordon's friend from the first backup, whose name escapes me, has gotten in the way and saved the psychiatrist's life, taken out all of Harvey's goons, and then put his hands on Harvey himself to communicate with Two-Face inside his head, where this is where it gets a little out there, but quite interesting. You see through their communication, time where the persona of Two-Face may or may not have been created when Harvey was a boy and attacked by lots of bullies, downright cut with knives and bled. And when he decided to fight back, that's when Two-Face was born. At least that's how he took it. The whole time, Two-Face is still fighting for control and trying to convince Harvey to let him out and take control, but Harvey refuses. And that is where we end our story, to be concluded next issue with part 3. So some interesting developments in this issue. Like I said, the art was fantastic. Two-Face is going through some shit. I don't think he's going to stop anytime soon. He's going through a lot of shit. He can't kill that psychiatrist. He needs that psychiatrist. Man's
I'm
just
saying.
messed up right now. Batman's in for some shit too. Like, my
Yeah,
goodness,
he is.
he's got his work cut out for him between stuff going on with Barbatos, um, Barb. How do you pronounce it? I know we had this discussion. Then I
Barbados, because it's a bat.
Barbados. I was saying Barbados earlier. Yeah, like during metal, I thought Barbatos. Yeah, that made sense. But then
Yes.
there's an actual like elder god with that name, isn't there? Barbatos,
Yes.
I think is yeah.
Barbados
So
or
I don't know.
then there's the islands, Barbados.
Yeah, that's why I was saying yeah, Barbados. Yeah, it's confusing. But yeah, he's got that stuff going on. Um, it's a lot. Bruce has his work cut out for him with this mystery, but I am all for it. Like it's a hell of a run so far. Romvi is giving out some
Yeah, it is.
amazing work in Detective Comics. It's a honest to goodness mystery, which you need in Detective Comics. I've been saying for a long time. It's called Detective Comics. It should be about detective work,
Yep.
which we are getting. So 8.75 out of 10 for this issue. I really enjoyed it, and I love the way this book has gone.
Yeah. I mean, I'll say it again. Fucking art is killer in this book. It's a good mystery story, and it's interesting. And every issue, things get a little deeper, and both the front and the back stories are done so well. But with Ron V and Simon Spurrier at the helm, you kind of know it's going to be great, especially with the stories at hand that they're dealing with. And I really don't know what else to say. The stories are just fantastic. It's just they're just great. What I've wanted in detective is here, or at least as close as I'm going to get it. It's right in this arc. I gave this a 9 out of 10
You know, solid stuff going on.
for sure.
And with the oldest issue or the oldest book in DC's catalog out of the way, we are then going to take a look at the second oldest book in DC's catalog to top us off, and that is Action Comics number 1049. And Josh is going to tell us about that.
I will. There's two stories, and I'll tell you about both of them for the low price of one. Written by Philip Kennedy Johnson with Mike Perkins art and colors from Lee Lowridge. Dave Sharp did the lettering, and the cover was done by one Steve Beach. The issue starts out with Lex Luthor's holographic projection via neural implant in Metallo's head, telling him what we pretty much already knew at the end of the last issue when Corbin's sister didn't show up for visitation. We learn here that she's been set up for murder, that she'll be taken care of nicely as long as Metallo plays along, while also telling him that he's in for the upgrade of a lifetime that Lex says will last a lifetime. Meanwhile, the fight is still going on for Clark Bibbo and company against Orion Calabac and Desaad. Things are going in the good guys' favor until Osul flies up and is helping the good guys, stops the ceiling from collapsing on a person, and then Desaad zaps him with a magic spell. Then Osul fires back, and Superman has to stop Osul from killing Desaad. Gets damn close to it. Looks like the fire of Ogren has some side effects. After the fight, Superman goes to World to say goodbye to everyone, and the cheers of his name wake up the evil baby in a bottle. The orphan, I believe his name is. Creator of the orphan boxes. Am I remembering that correctly? I think I'm remembering.
I believe you're right.
Correctly. We quickly see Corbin breaking out of the prison before we see Luthor and Manchester Black, of all people, talking about Black watching Clark on Warworld for Lex, and how Lex got an unmade and an orphan box out of it. Then Lex electrocutes Black and says that he only needs him alive for just a little while longer. Of course, the art is great in this first part. Perkins' work is always gorgeous. There's a lot of threads in this story, feeling set up to be more involved than even Warworld. That's the way it feels to me anyway. I just can't help but wonder how quickly this will move or be resolved. It's a fantastic issue, though. Definitely pulled all the way into this story. I dug it. First half, I gave it 9 out of 10. In the backup, I've got writer Philip Kennedy Johnson again with art from David Lapham, colors Trish Mulvihill, and letters Dave Sharp. It's Taolo's story here as she steps up with Supergirl, whoops on Shadle, who gets defeated rather easily after he does a little bit of smack talking, maybe a little bit too much smack talking. It ends up with Shadle in prison, then someone teleports in and starts talking to him like he's a damn hero. So that happened. The story is good here, even if I'm not a huge fan of the art. It's not actually bad, but it's a just not for me kind of thing. I don't like thick lines. It doesn't hurt the score any. Both parts of this book are great. Just the first one a little more so. I gave the back an 8.5, so I'm just keeping it at a 9, man. All three books in the after the commercial break got a 9 out of 10 from me.
That's kind of interesting the way that went, because all three books after the commercial break got the same score for me, but it was a quarter point shorter. like I'll start off that I gave it 8.75 to Action Comics 1049. Mostly, it didn't get a 9 because it did feel like a setup issue. I think you did say that it was a lot of just setting up stuff.
Yeah,
Really,
a lot of threads
mainly
being
just
pulled.
setting up issue 1050, because we're going to see some stuff coming to a head there,
We gonna
but
see
still
some
really
stuff.
enjoyable. I thought it was a good art throughout. I really enjoyed it. The stuff in the backup I thought was a nice way to cap things off there, especially with Thao Law, seeing where she ends up going forward. Yeah, it's nothing to really dislike. I enjoyed it throughout. I think it was a solid issue. It's been a solid run, very solid run from PKJ. So I'm very excited for next month's 1050 to see what's going to happen, because I've been talking it up for a few months now.
Yeah,
And with the setup we've had in 1049, there's so many different things that could happen. I can't wait to see what happens. There's a lot of things just set up in this issue, so it really was a setup issue. I'm not against that because it was a good issue. So,
it
like
was
I
a
said,
really
eight point
good
seven
issue.
five out of 10.
It was a setup issue that offered a whole lot more than just a loose plot with the setup in it. And
Yeah,
hell yeah, dude, fantastic book. Action is action is easily my favorite ongoing right now, which
right.
feels really weird for me to say. Is really weird for me to say about a Superman title.
Oh yeah,
You never would have caught me saying that 5, 10 years ago. No sir.
yeah. I get that.
Wouldn't have
Okay.
even been in my top three.
Well then. Well, with that, let's find out what did make your top three. And why don't you kick us off with that? Because I'm very curious to see what did make your top three.
It was the last half of the show, man. I gave a great detective story to number three. Detective Comics is just kicking ass. Number two, I enjoyed the way that the story came together in Deathstroke Inc., and I'm sad that it's not continuing. At least to give us, if for nothing else, to give us Deathstroke year two.
Yeah.
And then number one, man, I've already expressed the love for it. Action Comics, it just continues to kick ass, and I really love it. And honestly, my favorite moment came from second place, the ending where we see Deathstroke make the choice to fuck up the rest of his and his family's life forever. Um,
Yeah.
it was interesting, not in a funny way. It was interesting to see that actually depicted, his actual moment of that decision where he was not going to be the kind of man that he wanted to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As for me, very different. Number three, I had DC versus Vampires. I really enjoyed it. A lot of fun moments with a lot of devastating moments. Number
Oh,
two, I
always.
actually had the Dark Army. I thought it was really cool to
Oof.
have this team, this team that you'd never think would come together and actually have a really enjoyable adventure together.
I would
And
enjoy
number
if the
one,
Robin team stuck around together for sure.
yeah,
That would be cool.
definitely. Number one, I had Detective Comics, number 1066. For everything I said before, there's a lot of great stuff in that issue. My favorite moments, I didn't really have one until we started recording this episode. When I thought about it, quite honestly, Captain Carrot biting sideways just sticks out at me for
Her.
all the wrong reasons, mind you. I love
That's
Captain
okay.
Carrot and I love Sideways, but seeing them interact just made me giggle a little bit, even though it was horrific. So what can you do? All right, so that was our favorite moment, and now it's time for your favorite moment. It is
The biggest thinker.
Oh, that's nasty.
Yeah, you know it's nasty. You want to know what's nasty, Rob? What's absolutely disgusting?
I think I
You want
know.
to know what stinks so bad? I stepped in a big ass pile of Tim Drake.
Oh,
Yeah, this is an atrocity.
yeah,
The art and the story is just bad. It's just bad. It's actually bad. So quit doing it and do something else. Thank you.
yeah,
I cede my time.
yeah. Quite honestly, it's right there with you. Tim Drake Robin made the stink list for no surprise, I think, given the scores we gave it. Uh, what can you do except maybe write a better book? I don't know. That sounds so catty, but come on.
I mean, just I mean,
If you're
if
gonna
that
write a
was catty,
character
then
that
I can
exists
only
and has been
imagine
around
how
for
I sounded. But
decades, no.
Jesus,
If you're gonna write a book about a character that's been around for some decades, give it some research. You know,
look, Ben. Before
dive
you
into the
hand over
character's
fan
history.
favorites, make sure the motherfuckers have at least attended something like Scott Snyder's Substack classes or something. Because these obviously the decisions being made by Megan Fitzmartin and the majority of the books that she's attached to are all bad.
Yeah.
And I'm not just attacking her as a person. I've got no reason to dislike her. I'm sure she's great. I just have not liked anything she's done. And like Riley Rosmo, I just keep seeing her name pop up more and more and more. So yay!
Yeah.
Actually, no. I agree. I agree.
Yeah. Well, I guess with that, yeah. What else is there to say? So that's our show. Yeah. Remember, you can help support us by going to buymeacoffee.com/NAR podcasts and check us out on Twitter at Not a Robot Comics. Subscribe to our Substack for bonus reviews, articles, and more. We are on all sorts of social media right now. You can find us almost anywhere. And as always, there's only one way we say goodbye around here. Until next time,
Be good to each other.
and don't